Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sloppy Lab. I'm JT Russell, and with me tonight is the man who hates Halloween because as a child, he was not allowed to come home until he had collected 3,457 pieces of candy. And gosh darn it, wouldn't you know it? Even with all that candy, the next morning his parents still ate it all. Well, welcome,
You
Quick
know what?
Draw.
Part of that is not made up,
Oh my
I
goodness.
say, and I'll leave that to you guys to figure out. But yeah, happy Halloween, everybody. Um, yeah, we're gonna have a spooky episode tonight, aren't we? In
Very
in honor
spooky.
of this festive holiday.
Very spooky. And I have to admit, I am fulfilling at least the parental side of that obligation. Folks can hear the crinkles of my kids' candy right here.
I'm gonna have to hit the cough button a lot for you tonight, probably.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, that's fun. Hey, claps from the chat. Welcome, Dinobot. Yeah, there's nothing tastes quite as good as your kids' candy on Halloween night. I have to tell you.
I have no kids, but let me just say, I do have a pet peeve, and that is the phrase that I've heard more this week than I ever have in my life.
Okay.
Spooky season. I'm
Spooky
done with it.
season. This is the
Have you heard
very
that yet
first
this week?
time in my life that I've ever heard somebody say spooky season.
I am dreadfully sorry that I am the person to break that to you. It's just been nonstop. I was trying to figure out like why are there Halloween parties in my city? Not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. And my wife was like, "Oh, it's spooky season." Like all the kids these days, like it's all of October is spooky season, and they just have costume parties and stuff all month. And I'm like, "This is not. No, this can't happen. This is. I don't like it. Um, and this is a meaningless thing, but that's what pet peeves are all about.
That's what pet peeves
I
are all
I
about.
don't like that phrase, and I don't like the fact that we celebrate Halloween for an entire month now.
So this will go to show you how much I think I'm in your camp on spooky season. One of the surrounding towns does trick or treating on the night before Halloween, and there's another one that does it the day after, and both of those I think are absolute abominations. So
November 1st, they have trick or treating on November 1st.
November 1st, yeah, yeah. Like
That is
I don't know.
terrible.
I don't know. And I think if I'm gonna put in their shoes, put on my empathy hat. I think they're doing it to extend the spooky season.
I think so too. Now, I mean, back when I was a kid, back in the 60s,
Yeah,
you know, I feel like I remember going trick or treating at like 8 o'clock at night, and maybe
yeah.
I'm just imagining things. But now kids are going trick or treating. It's like 6, and it's not even dark out, and it's just like, what's the point? Like, right?
Well,
Shouldn't
we
it be dark out?
we started around 6. We did, and we finished by no. We started by 6:30. Started by 6:30. Finished by like 7:30, and it was pretty dark. It was pretty dark. Uh,
You're a little bit further north, so I feel like 7:30 would be pretty dark for you.
Pretty dark. And I don't know. I mean, I know. I mean, kids with bedtimes at like 7. Like who put? I don't know. My kids have never gone to bed that early, but so maybe that's just a parenting difference things. But I do remember being out a lot later as a kid. I want to say. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know.
Well, hope others listening right now have already brought their kids trick or treating. Maybe you're home.
Let's
Want
be
to
honest.
want to hear some?
The folks who are listening like 5 days after Halloween, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so over the spooky season already."
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy to end this conversation of the spooky season. Kind of go into what we're actually going to talk about tonight, which is related to this. We're going to talk about pet peeves and unpopular opinions. So, consider this your warning. If you are looking for our normal, like really deep, intelligent, amazing conversations between JT and I, this one's going to be a lot more lighthearted and fun. So I'm sorry, it's going to be more casual tonight. This is not the competitive queue this evening.
Well, it's been 56 episodes. If they're still waiting for that content, I don't know what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've had this on our list for a while, just as like a fun thing to do because we always joke around with the rest of the Sloppy Lab, and we each are known for our hot takes and pet peeves that we each have, and so figure this is a good time to share. And I have two that I have never shared with anybody. I have two Keyforge pet peeves that I've never shared with anybody. No one on the team, not even you. And they're going to be debuted tonight, and so everyone
I'm
will
looking
know my
forward to it.
secret. Yeah. I've been carrying the weight of these for a very long time, and I hope that I can just really enact some meaningful change in this world once I share this.
Well, meaningful change is a tall order, but you'll at least be able to unburden yourself. We can
I hope
deliver on
so.
that.
But I want to, I'm all about like, being a positive influence on people. So I hope you understand that the impact and the harm that these pet peeves cause to other people and try to rectify the behavior. So,
Okay. Okay. Well, I take
welcome in,
constructive criticism very well.
Dinobot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might only be partially guilty.
Okay.
We'll see. I'll let you be the judge of that. But welcome to Dinobot. Welcome to Data Forge Stream. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I know Data Forge Stream. I don't know if Data Forge Stream has kids, but it's still trick or treating time over
Mm-hmm.
there. But
Mm-hmm.
the dedication of Data Forge Stream to tune in anyway. Skipping trick or treating.
Skipping indeed. Maybe we got a little check in from the phone while we're hitting the streets. Who knows? But I am super curious
Could
to hear
be.
about some of these. You teased to our team the pet peeves that have gone unmentioned so far. So I'm very
Yeah.
curious. But we'll build up to that. Why don't you
Yeah,
kick
we
us
got to
off
build
with
up.
maybe something that's
We have
like.
to. 56 episodes. We know how to like tease something like that. We're not just gonna like reveal it at the start of the show. So, um, we I'll start with some pet peeves that our teammates shared with us.
Okay.
And these actually kind of have some the when one of them was mentioned to me, it had a like very specific relevance to my latest IRL Keyforge night, which I thought was interesting. So very relatable. First, we'll just kick off B-Hawk. B-Hawk's pet peeves are pet peeves, which I found pretty amusing. I like that's my kind of humor, and I don't know if it's the terms pet peeves that he was hung up on. I think that's what it was, right?
I think so. And to be fair, I think the term is kind of cutesy and silly.
Is it something that would bother you?
It's not pet peeve status, but I remember the first time hearing it, I was like, "Is this term a joke?"
There is in the Star Wars CCG forums that they still use forums like the old PHP, like old school style forums,
Yeah.
as like their primary method of communication. One of the most popular threads of all time on that forum was started by a friend of mine, and it is still active to this day. It is still something I check literally every day for. Is an irrational pet peeves thread, and people just go in there and just post a random irrational pet peeve, and they don't even expect a response. You're just like venting, getting it out there. It's so entertaining. It's really interesting to hear what other people think too.
I feel like if that was a subreddit, it would be very popular.
I'm sure there is one like that.
There's
There's
gotta
got to
be.
be, right?
There's gotta be.
He might have actually stolen it from Reddit. I'm not on Reddit that much, but
Hmm.
um, yeah. So, Not Tonight gave us a few as well, and these were really good ones. This is something that I had never thought about before. Like you play your IRL Keyforge events, and everyone brings their own tokens. And Not Tonight said not sharing tokens during a match, during a game, was a
Mm-hmm.
pet peeve of hers. And I thought like, wow, that's actually like I never would have thought that. But with Winds of Exchange, I really do think about it because specifically of a card like Closed Door Negotiation and how much more tedious it is to play Closed Door Negotiation when you're not sharing amber with each other. It's so much harder. Like, okay, like you move an amber, I'll move an amber, you draw a card. Now, how many do we have, right? And you have to like, it's kind of harder to track that way. But if you're sharing an amber pool, you just like literally take it from theirs, put it in yours. It just feels so much easier.
Yep.
So I thought this was a very rational one.
I 100%. I love this one. I love this one because I've often thought that a really nice thing for event organizers to do would be to have communal tokens at game stations. Like if you were going to a Magic event, there would be a big box of communal lands for everybody to use once you've drafted your deck or whatever, right? Now that said, it's tough because a lot of people look at their tokens as an outlet for creative expression, right? Like I've got these really cool
Mm-hmm.
tokens, like these are awesome, love using them, love the weight, love something special about them, whatever. I mean, not everybody has the luxury of playstyle ones. Not Tonight herself has really nice actual amber tokens, petrified tree sap, whatever tokens, which are pretty cool. But I think it's makes things a whole lot easier if you agree to use tokens, the same tokens as your set
Yeah.
as your opponent. And I always,
Yeah.
always, always have with me enough tokens for 2 players to use.
Whenever you and I met in Philly for the Vault Tour this year, it was the first time I ever got to use the burger tokens that
Hmm.
you had. Maybe your brother had them. I think it was yours though.
They're mine,
And the
yeah.
burger tokens I loved. I just loved the feel of them. And so, like you're talking about, like people want to have their own expression of tokens. I'm fingers crossed. I think they're going to arrive in time for KFC, but I should have some burger tokens arriving, and I'm kind of excited to like have these, better tactile feel tokens with. I hope I have enough to share, but I don't think I do because they're really expensive. And I bought 2 sets, and with Woe and some of the decks that I like to play, like you might have 30 amber sometimes. It's how it is. So, but I get that feeling too of like wanting to, express yourself with your own tokens, and sharing is not always the easiest to do that.
Yeah, there is that, like, everybody happen. This happens to everybody when you're using your own tokens. Your opponent using is their own tokens. But this happens. You're like, I steal one, and you grab one amber from your token set, and you hold it up, and you wait, and you
Yep.
like wait for eye contact, and they're like, oh, and then they like take one off yours, and you like you show an amber to each other, and you're like, I
Yeah.
put it here, and like it happens all the time. But it's way easier if you're using one. You can kind of
hmm
just yoink and be like, can I steal? You
And
know?
especially with like now that the game has, I think, more capture in WoW than a lot of other previous sets,
Mm,
and you have more of sharing of creatures. Whirlpool, Freelancer, Exchange Program, like that kind of stuff, makes it even more tedious to share. And if you're both using burger tokens and you're each using your own pool, you don't want to lose any of those, right? And so you have to maybe might be best to agree before the game, like let's just use your set and keep it at that.
yeah, totally. What I mean, whatever way you go, obviously, be gracious. Agree up front what you're going to be doing. There's the only way you can really go wrong is to have kind of different expectations and both folks acting on them at the same time.
True. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
communicate.
just communicate for sure.
Um, all right, so Not Tonight had one more, probably not as in depth of a discussion. I think we can all agree on this one. When you're playing your creatures, always put them in exhausted. Even if like, I'm not using that creature this turn, just throw it into play ready. Actually played against someone last week who did that, and it definitely bothered me the entire game. I found myself after a few times literally reaching across the table to like exhaust the creature for them. Um, so that's a pretty rational one there. Not tonight.
So this is, just to be clear, this is people taking a shortcut, putting creatures into play, not bothering to put them into play exhausted because they're like, hey, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna end my turn in a second, and they're gonna
yeah.
ready. Yeah,
Not cheating. Not cheating at all. This is not a finger pointing. It's just like, you know, just to see it not exhausted. It's like, oh, it hurts, right?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm gonna just jump right into one of mine too because I have one that's related, and that is kind of jumping the gun on starting the next turn before a player has readied and drawn. So I'm a big fan of having clear game states and kind of just making sure that everything's kind of obvious what's going on. So I like to very intentionally like have a ready and then draw kind of step to ending my turn, which I mean it should be the very intentional part of ending your turn. But I'm like, I don't start my turn before my opponent has kind of readied and drawn. And I prefer when folks, wait to start their turn until I've readied
hmm
and drawn. And it's especially true when you get into a time crunch because you can, you've probably seen it happen at an event. Someone will say, well, like I said go, and the opponent's like, well, you said go, but you didn't ready and draw, and now it's this really awkward, and we're like, but all game I've said go, and you've started going, like just like ready and draw, and then have the next player start their turn makes things a lot cleaner. Um,
Yeah, the
yeah.
order of operations matters, right? Like you have to do things cleanly. It's part of the Queen Play, like Aurora's shared Queen Play document a
Clean
number of
play,
times.
totally.
It's kind of like that. I think it's definitely related to that. I have one that reminded me of this one, and this is pretty much just relevant to online play, but I guess it could also come up in real life too. Is when you're playing someone on TCO and you're on check for key three, and then they start their turn and they say GG, and then they just keep playing their turn, and they're like playing like 6 cards, doing a bunch of stuff, and you're like, did he just say GG and he's going to take me off check anyway? It's happened before. And I just don't know. Like I don't like the early GG like that unless it is immediately followed by a concede or an end turn to end the game. But when you say the GG, you're saying that I have lost. Good game. The game is yours, and we are done now. And if you keep playing, I think there's even been one time where someone said GG, kept playing, and then halfway through the turn, I was like, oh, I figured out a way to get out of this. And the game keeps going. And I'm like, why did you say GG?
Yeah, yeah. I This one gets under a lot of folks' skin. Um, it doesn't bother me a ton, even when they get out of it. Though I think that yeah, it's you should reserve the GGs until the game actually online says so and so has won the game.
All right, so let me ask you this. So if you have an opponent who says an early GG and you're on check for key three,
Hmm.
and you know that it's possible, like they have cards in their deck that could take you off, do
Yeah.
you immediately respond with a GG,
Nope.
or do you wait until it's officially over?
I give them silent. I give them silent treatment
Good.
until the game's over. Unless I'm absolutely certain, and this is probably bad form from me, but there'll be scenarios where I'll be on check for key three. My opponent has an empty board, and I'll play corner of the market, and there's just nothing that they can do on the
Mm-hmm.
next turn, and they'll be like, "Oh, GG." I'm like, "Yeah, GG," and then
Mm-hmm.
they'll do stuff, discard things, and then pass it back. And that's a scenario where I would or have, but if there's any remote
Yeah.
possibility that the game's not actually ending on their next turn, then I reserve the reciprocal GG until it's official. Hmm.
Yeah. I was playing a game a couple days ago, and this wasn't a GG, and I was actually losing. Like I was in a close game, it was 2-2, and they have like tons of Brenda recursion, lots of ways to kill the Brend, all this other stuff going on. And they're like going through the motions of a Shadow's turn, and they're like, oh, that's so bad. Like they messed up or they had some bad luck, and I'm kind of like, this doesn't look bad for you at all to me. And I said that, and they're like, oh, it's bad. I was like, are you sure? And I just like did nothing my next turn, and they won. And I was kind of like, GG, and then they just left without saying anything. I was like, what happened to me? Like, I knew I was getting wrecked, and they're like complaining about like bad RNG or messing up or something like that. And I don't know, it was a weird one. Didn't even get a GG out of that one though.
Well, this is interesting. Actually, relates to an interesting topic that I think we may have lined up with a guest before too long. So I'm looking forward to that. Don't want to get into it too much, but uh, and from the comments here, Floxamal agreeing with you, it's tough to know what folks mean online as well. I mean, there will be folks who playing IRL will say, "Oh, GG," kind of sarcastically, but not meaning like not extending a hand to shake for game over, just being like, "Wow, good, what luck," or something like that. Just sort of an exasperated like what else could go wrong, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But fully intending to play two or three more turns or whatever and possibly win. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough, but yeah, reserve the GGs until it's over. Sure.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna share one with you here.
Okay.
I'll start with one,
Hmm.
the smaller one. This one bothers me a little less. It's just a little weird. I don't know. It's a phrase. It's a phrase that many Keyforge players and podcasters use. I fully understand what it means, and I literally cannot explain why it bothers me.
Okay.
But I hate the phrase board sweep.
Board sweep.
Yes. I prefer board wipe. I am staunchly in the board wipe camp, and if I hear board sweep, bothers me. Don't like it.
Interesting. That
Yeah,
is very specific
I
and
know.
uh
I I can't defend it. It's just it's a pet peeve, right? Like
yeah. Yeah.
it's not meaningful in any way, but it's something that bothers me. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, everyone in the chat fessing up whether they're in this camp or not.
I'm not naming names, and I this is not an attack on anyone that does it. I want you all to know, if you're listening, I don't like that phrase, and I would prefer board wipe. I can't explain why. That's all.
Interesting. Okay, GOK at least
So,
uses board wipes. Okay,
okay, all right, I didn't know that, so that's good.
that's good. I
Board
honestly,
board clear is acceptable. I will
okay,
say board clear is acceptable. It's
Interesting.
the board sweep that for some reason gets me.
Oh, interesting. In DOK's Metascore, they list board clears, but board wipes is the stat down below. I don't
Hmm.
I don't have a particular strong feelings between clears and wipes or sweeps for that matter, but do like consistency.
Uh,
I prefer consistency over
hmm.
correctness, to be perfectly honest.
No, Dinobot. I'm sorry. No, sweeper is absolutely not fine. Sweeper is worse than board sweep. It is no. Don't make me judge you, Dinobot. That is definitely worse.
Wow, you are. We're learning things about you tonight, Quick Draw. This is interesting. This is a deep one.
More to
I
come.
More to come.
More to come.
I don't think this is not on my radar. If I may have said sweeps many times, and not like now thinking back, I think these terms are just in an equivalence class for me. Like if I like recall a memory of someone talking about board wipes, it could have been sweeps, and I would not know the difference.
Now
Actually,
you'll remember though.
now I remember. Actually, friends of the show, the Weekend Key Warriors podcast has had some episodes a while back on board wipes, and I in this moment could not tell you if it was clears, wipes, sweeps that they used.
I have to admit, sorry, second act. I am sure that you said board sweep.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna change topics before we have any other, any other
Friend of the
thoughts.
show, second act, great guy. Like I said, it's not about the people. It's just that
Okay. Okay.
it gets under my skin. That's all.
There you go.
So, you see me at KFC. If we're in like a final game, winner take all. Just if you say I'm gonna play a board sweep now, you might tilt me.
I'm I'm
Might
I'm
might tilt
tucking it
me.
away. Tucking it away. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. Well, I'll have to see if we can get second act back on the show here to talk about board sweeps at some point. As
Defend himself. Defend
yeah,
his honor.
yeah, totally. Okay. Well, that was an interesting one. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Interesting one.
I've been keeping it to myself and taking names as
Yeah.
well.
And if it makes you feel any better, this is kind of funny. This makes me feel any better. Second act, my uh, wife actually does a personal pet peeve and knows about it, but like can't change herself. And I'm like, I love you. You can't change. Like we're just gonna move on. So if you just can't get past board sweep, then well, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get over it anytime soon. So
Mm-hmm. Well, what's our other one from you? This is good.
oh, you want the other one already?
Should we jump? Oh well, we can build up to it. We'll come back. I'm just teasing the audience, dangling it.
The other one is bigger.
All right. I mean,
Yeah.
I was already hyped. You know.
Yeah. You have one more, don't you?
I do. I do. I mean, mine are. I'll be honest. I had to really stretch to pull some of these out. My other one though is big old piles of amber in IRL play. And these are kind of just PSAs for clean play. But I think that's one of mine is when I look over and see just a big like mountain of amber on my opponent's Archon card, and I'm like, how much is that? And they're like, I don't know. They just say check. It's enough for check. I'm like, yeah, but if I TMTP you, how much am I getting? And they're like, oh, So I hate having to be like, yeah, but could you count it because it matters, sort of a thing. So I love seeing them stacked in like, oh, here's the 6, and then here's the 5 more, sort of a thing. So I don't know. I do try to group my amber in a way where it's easy to tell at a glance from my opponent, how much I've got. So I like
Mhm.
seeing that, but
I would say if I have 6 to 12, I can keep it organized. And
okay.
beyond that, I just finish my turn, check at a billion. That's it. Figured it out. And
Hmm.
if you have the TMTP, you're not getting a billion minus 6. You're getting like 7, maybe.
I think we should go with you said a billion, and I agreed.
Judge
Judge,
said a billion.
yeah, we established a billion, we moved on, and things have been done with that as shared acceptance of the game state. Yeah.
So Floxamal. Okay. Floxamal's trying to tease out some more pet peeves and
Okay.
see. Let's see if we can tilt him here.
Okay.
So he wants us to say the name of a fast casual Mexican Tex-Mex restaurant.
Yes.
Um, I this is an easy one for me. It's Chipotle.
I say Chipotle as well, unless we're saying
Yeah,
it different and wrong, and I just can't hear the difference. Yeah.
I know it sounds the same to me. We'll see if Floxamal is going to grade us on that.
Okay.
And then a Key Forge related one. Where do you place your ember on the table?
Oof. I am on a little bit of a journey on this one. So I've been experimenting. I've been experimenting, but I will either place it on my Archon card in the proper position down the bottom of my playmat.
Wait,
It
what is you're going to need to clarify the proper position for your
Well,
Archon
I'm
card.
just gonna say the proper positioning because I don't know exactly what that is in the moment and don't want to seem like a slob.
You don't want to seem sloppy.
Don't want to seem sloppy. Well, I do it bottom right. Having trouble pulling up the muscle memory now of like where it is relative to the deck discard and Archon or an archives rather. I want to say it's like third pile from the right, but also as a lefty, I may do it backwards from the righty folk. Not sure.
So
Yeah,
wait, do you have your deck? Okay, so you're a lefty. Did not know that. I'm
yeah,
a righty.
yeah.
Um, do you have your discard in the bottom left corner of your mat, the bottom right corner of your mat, or somewhere else?
I have my discard in the bottom right corner of my mat.
So I'm a righty, and I have the same place.
Interesting.
I don't know why, and maybe I'm the one that's backwards for righties.
Maybe, or that's just the way that it was on some mat somewhere, and some righty made it, and now us lefties just learn to accept our our life as
Hmm.
second class citizens. Yeah.
Well, whenever I play other CCGs though, like I always have my deck in the same place, like the bottom right
Yes. Bottom
area.
right.
It's just how I am. And I
Hmm.
know a lot of other players I've talked to say that they're right-handed, so they keep it on the left side so that they can like hold the deck with their left hand and then like dish out cards with their right, how they should.
Hmm.
Um, so I think I am backwards in that one as a righty.
Maybe. I think it is typical to have the deck in the bottom right though, regardless of handedness. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Um,
Okay, so wait, back to the original question.
yeah.
Your amber. You have your amber on the Archon card, which is how I do it as well. I
Yes.
think that's probably the question, the answer he's looking for.
Yes.
I
So
think
uh, and I do go back and forth. I've been experimenting, but yeah, on the Archon card. Actually, we've done some play by post games in the team server. You could kind of look at that for my layout, though I may not do the same as I typically would there. But I will put them in rows of three, very clear rows of three, so you can see where six is, and then how many more I've got on top of that from just a glance. If
Oh,
you're
interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, now I'm looking at your playmat and the play by post, and kudos to you. You have a whirlpool in the game that we're looking at here. That's
nice,
great.
nice.
Um, so you have your token actually in the bottom right, and then you have your Archon, and then you have your discard, and then you have your deck.
Uh, I don't know. Sounds funky. Sounds funky. I'm
It
not.
looks funky to me.
Yeah, the play by
Looks like
post
you're
was interesting because I was also trying to fit everything in a picture, so it might not have been like might not
yeah,
be
that's true.
might not be as I would always do it. But I think the
So
amber
you
placement's probably about right.
okay, you also have a card face down under your token, which is in the bottom right corner. Is
Hmm.
that archive or is that purge?
If it's face down underneath a card, I typically put the purge underneath the Archon card. Um, so underneath the token sounds odd. It could be the purge for some reason. That sounds very strange though.
Hmm.
It may have been space saving to get everything in a picture uh, for archives, but that sounds really weird. That sounds really
Okay,
weird.
I'm going back to the tape, the play-by-play here. This was turn 6 of one of the early Whirlpool games for WoW,
Hmm.
which was cool.
Hmm.
All right, I'm gonna come back to this in a minute. It's gonna I don't want to figure out on air like which one was turn 6, but I'm gonna find out, and we'll figure out what that card is.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I prefer I'm more of the check it a billion kind of person.
Yeah.
Sorry. Uh, yeah, and I will not give you a billion minus 6. I promise.
Well, Well, you'll have to see what happens when I sweep all that amber over to my side of the table, I guess. um,
Okay.
yeah, but
So
to
it is your archive.
get to the other
It,
one
it
though,
was.
when I'm not doing on top of the archive, I'm. Let me what you think of this. I've been experimenting with lining it up around the top of my mat in groups of three or five, say five or six. So you can see my opponent like just has to look like what's about to forge. I don't know. I don't know if I like that as much, but I find it a little
That's
awkward.
actually closer to where I keep it. I keep my Archon and my token and my keys on the top left area of my playmat.
Hmm.
And so sometimes I'll have the Archon up like closer to the edge, so they'll be able to see it. But if it's a sealed game, I'll keep it closer to me. But the Amber will always be on top of the Archon in that
Yeah,
area.
but that's awkward though, right? Because you're now like whenever your opponent asks to see your Archon card, you know like slide it out from underneath, hand it
Yep,
over.
you got to. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
don't blame me. Blame the designers. That was the original way to put it, wasn't it?
I think that was the suggested place for your amber was on top of the Archon card, which is probably why
Yeah.
we started doing that. But
That's a good point though, because back then you did not have to share your Archon card throughout the game,
right,
and you should know what's in your own deck. So I wonder if maybe Flaxamal was trying to get us to the point where we like realize no one should be putting their Amber on top of the Archon card anymore.
yeah. And if we're on a journey to figure out the best ways to tilt quick draw, um, if I see you stacking up amber on top of your Archon card, I'm gonna be asking you like can I see that again?
Can I see that again? How many Eurekas do you have in there? How many helper bots again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. What
that's
was
fair.
the seventh digit of your code? Yeah.
What's the eighth digit of your code? Sorry. Um, yeah,
Okay.
that's an
Okay. And
interesting one.
from the chat though, we got some confirmation, some sloppy confirmation, we'll say, from Floxamal that there is a supposed rules change that shook up where you're placing amber and also the token reference card.
Wait, did I hear that there was a rules update today?
I don't know. Did you?
Maybe I made that up. I don't know.
I didn't hear. I didn't hear.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was mine. That was mine.
it's a good one.
That's a good one.
I don't. So I think there's only one other pet peeve I have to share. That's a big secret, and then I think after that we're gonna get to some unpopular opinions. Unless you have more pet peeves, or if
Mm-mm.
anyone in the chat has more pet peeves. So this is one that really gets under my skin. The board sweep is just like, okay, that's pretty annoying, but I'll live with it. But this one, I just don't like it at all, and it will bother me. And this is more commonly used by KeyForge players, and I really wish that there was a different way that people would say it. And I have been very careful to never say this. I'm pretty sure you can go and look on Discord history, and I've never used this word in this context before.
Can I make a guess? Oh, actually, never
Yeah.
mind. I'm pretty sure I've heard you
No,
say this.
too late. I want you to guess. You need to
Okay.
guess now.
There is a term that I've never heard used in other games until coming to KeyForge,
Oh man,
and that is high roll. But I'm pretty sure that's not what you're
uh,
trying to say. Yeah.
that is not. No, I was really hoping you picked up on it. I'd be very impressed.
Okay.
I wanted you to guess it correctly there.
Sorry,
Um,
let you down.
no, that's okay. I do say high roll. I say low roll. That's a Dungeons and Dragons reference, isn't it?
I mean, it would make sense if there are dice involved for sure. But yeah, I've
Yeah.
even I mean, playing a lot of I'm more of a card flopper than a dice chucker, I guess is the term. I'm not sure. So yeah, I'd never heard high roll used until playing KeyForge. Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know if I've heard it outside of KeyForge.
No.
I have to
No.
think about it. That's not the one though. So the word that I really hate used in context in KeyForge, and probably any other card game as well, I don't like it, is when you're talking about how someone's playing a deck very well and how they pilot the deck.
You don't like the
I
word
hate that.
pilot.
I hate the word pilot. I hate it in this context. It drives me crazy. Just say that they play the deck well. You don't need to say they pilot the deck well. Like, you're not flying a spaceship. You're playing a card game. Like, why are you saying pilot? Like, It's not complex machinery. It's literally like a fictional archon, which we don't even know what an archon is. We have no idea, but you're piloting it. How does that make sense?
Oh, I have to. This is too good. I love it.
You're going to search for from quick draw with the word pilot. And I want to see if you find anything.
Mm.
And I will probably just drop off the call right now if you do.
I don't know if I have the stomach to out you right in this moment. I'm more just looking up some secondary definitions for pilot and seeing if there are any that are not I mean, yeah, act as a pilot or guide or steer deck. But
That's generous.
I see the I see it. Okay, so let me. Oh, this is good. This is good. How do you feel about the term software engineer?
I don't have any feelings at all in that. I worked with software engineers.
Yeah, but they did not.
Is this?
They did not go to engineering school. They don't have an engineering degree. No one's certifying the soundness of a piece of software, right?
But they engineered the software.
I think that probably the software engineers are the ones who decided that they engineered the software.
Good for them. They're just upselling,
Okay, but deck players who are upselling them to piloting the decks is different.
Would you ever call yourself a software pilot?
Oh, I mean, if it was some flight simulation software.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I can agree with that one. That would be valid.
Okay, interesting. Okay, this is good. This is great. I joke with you, but I had not thought about it. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've
pilot.
Yeah, you heard that term. Now that you mention it, I don't think I'd played Magic for 30 years. 25 years. I don't know how long it's been, but I don't think I'd ever heard somebody say piloting a Magic deck. So interesting.
I've never heard in other CCGs either. It's only been in Keyforge that I've heard that term.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and I think you're safe. I don't think I've ever heard you say this term.
It would be seared into your memory.
So I think I still like you.
Okay.
I think you're good.
Okay.
Now, it's hard for me to say that I don't like people that say this because literally like 90% of Keyforge players say this.
Yeah.
But I'm judging. I will just admit that. I'm judging.
Well, I think this very, very intriguing peeve also hints at a topic that we've had on our backlog for a while that maybe we'll get to, which is the season, which is the decks that you sit behind versus decks that you play. And kind of how that shakes out, because I think that there are, to the extent that this term is valid, there are some decks that require more piloting or a more active playing, if you will, than other decks, and there's some interesting stuff to dig into
Let me add one other wrinkle to this.
Okay.
If there is a deck that you sit behind, which is the term that you came up with, decks that you sit behind versus decks that you play. Mm-hmm. A deck that you sit behind is a deck that kind of plays itself, right?
Yeah. It's autopilot.
I would not have a problem saying that I'm on autopilot when playing that kind of deck. I would not have a problem with that. I don't know. Maybe that's contradictory, but to me, I have the problem with saying that you're piloting a deck.
Okay.
But if you're on autopilot while you play a deck, I think we're good. I think that's okay.
I'm hatching plans to like build a paper airplane out of a deck.
Put the Archon in the pilot seat of the paper airplane.
Yeah. Funny. That's funny. But okay, noted. I will.
Yeah.
I can't say that the term bothers me, but I will certainly take note of it from now on.
My goal is that anyone listening in the future is now bothered by this term as well, to the point that people stop using it.
Pro games. Oh, the chat's loving it. I love it. Well, chat. Don't think I haven't seen you out there. Quick Draw 3 and Quick Draw 4. If you are listening, you know what to do. make that Quick Draw 5 account, and you know what to say.
Someone's gonna make a. Someone's gonna. Maybe it'll be you. Maybe you'll make a one of the Grim Reminders special name decks, and you'll make a Quick Draw 3 4 5 7 pilot, and see what they come up with for the deck name.
Oh, funny. That's too funny. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's serious.
That
I'm
one's
not joking
serious.
around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say that I didn't love the term high roll for a long time, though I do say it now too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but pilot's good. It doesn't bother me, but I will notice it. I'll notice it now.
I'm waiting to get up in the morning, and everyone that watched the Twitch VOD overnight, I will be expecting the apologies in my DMs and Discord in the morning. So that's all I have to say on that.
Great
Yeah,
ideas from the chat about.
Exactly, Dinobot. Okay, Floxamal, you're the first one to apologize. Therefore, apology is very graciously accepted. Thank you.
Very graciously accepted. Yeah, but love yourself. Don't let Quick Draw bully you out of saying pilot. You pilot all you want to pilot.
You can pilot all you want, and I'll play Keyforge. So
there you go.
We'll see which one of us works out better there. We'll see.
There you go. Okay, very good. Well, that was delightful. I don't know if anyone enjoyed it as much as I did.
I need to calm down a little bit now. We have some unpopular opinions. That'll calm me down.
This is what happens when we let you suggest the topic without any checks and balances.
I have an agenda.
Yeah,
I have a plan, and I stick to it.
Cool. Well, this is good, and I do wanna throw out a potential kind of content idea when we get through the unpopular opinions, because I think it all ties in. But we'll say that too. We'll say that to the end, just in case folks were thinking about, piecing out once we're shifting gears. Yeah, there's gonna be some cool stuff coming at the end too.
Yeah. That wasn't the big reveal. Maybe JT's got something that's cooler than that topic, but
could be. But unpopular opinions, man, we have a laundry list of these. I think this is going to be part 1 of question mark.
I forgot actually that we already had a very long list of this stuff until you reminded me right before the show. I was like, I can probably just think a bunch of these right now, and sure enough, there's even more in there. So we're not going to touch on all of them, but
okay.
Picked out a few.
All right, so I will follow your lead and be your co-pilot, as it were, if you want. As we steer the ship of
JT.
This episode. I don't know. Yeah. Where should we hop into? Where should we hop into unpopular opinions?
So I have some that are kind of obvious, and I think people that listen regularly probably have already heard these, so I may skim them quickly. But I'll start DT Best Set. Everyone knows this. That's becoming more popular, which I'm very happy to say. That's why I'm going to open with this one. And one that we talked about last week, and I think the week before that as well. Trooper. Better than Prospector.
Better than Prospector.
Better than Prospector.
Wow.
That is my take.
Wow. You definitely showed me a deck earlier today where I saw the Bellatoran Warriors and said without any irony, like, man, I really wish this was Trooper.
Yeah, it was a rare. That was a very specific case, and it was because the token generation was so low that you couldn't rely on a beefy token anyway. But it would objectively be a better deck with Trooper in that case because you wouldn't have the training costs. So, but Bellatoran Warrior is very good. I'm not ready to say that Trooper's better than Bellatoran Warrior. I do really like the Bellatoran Warrior. I haven't really played one yet. I've opened one, and I think I played it once or twice, but I didn't really get a feel for it. But yeah, I mean, I'll go another step. I will say that I think Trooper will win a Vault Tour or major event before a Prospector will.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's bold.
I feel good about that one.
I
just we've played Prospector. You have a decent Prospector deck, but like the more we've played it, they just kind of lack punch. They wrinkle over and you draw some cards, and then you're like, okay, well, I tokenized the card that I wanted, but I draw a bad card, and I have I've had one very spicy prospector deck, and that just it always got in its own way. And I think one of the problems that I've found with prospectors is that when you can pile them up and you get a bunch of them and then they get wiped off the board, notice what I did there.
Mm-hmm.
You draw a bunch of cards and then your next turn's pretty good. And then if you're playing against a control the weak or a befuddle, or uh, something like that, like your next turn is you're time walked, guaranteed.
Mm.
It takes very careful play when you have like a hand of 12 like that to not get time walked and kind of lose a lot of the value that you thought you gained from it. And obviously, you're not going to play against that kind of stuff every time. It's just that, I don't really think that that's considered enough. And I do think that things like Befuddle are, they're going to be everywhere, like at KFC and Future Vaults for a very long time, I think. I think it's a really amazing card. And I think that's kind of a pretty good reason why prospectors lose a little bit of teeth.
Interesting. I don't know if I'm ready to say that they are better than prospectors, but they are much better than we initially gave them credit for, and much better than a lot of folks are still giving them credit for. I think we're really undervaluing, getting better, but really undervaluing just how important it is to have a token with some staying power on the board and a little bit
Yeah.
more of a body. Um,
Yep.
a lot of the kind of fears that we had about how tokens would impact the game are just more relevant when, or yeah, more relevant when the tokens are larger. Um, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's an exception for Prospector, even though there is a lot of upside to them being destroyed.
Yeah. I think prospectors, you look at it and like that is providing value no matter what. But the Trooper, I feel, has a lot of synergy in house where cards just get so much better when you have a Trooper, like
Mm,
Crushing Charge, Cerarium, Pale into Insignificance. Like compare Pale, if you have a like a Senator or a Scholar even, like, and you have Pale into Insignificance, that's a discard every single time.
mm.
But if you have a Trooper out there, that is almost a one-sided board wipe. And the kind of value that Trooper gives to other cards in house and a lot of out of house cards too is pretty amazing. Like Adult Swim with the low token is like, I might discard that some of the time.
Yeah.
Adult Swim with the Trooper is just money. It's a great play. It's disruption. It's an Amber Pip. It's creature control. It's just fantastic. So that's why I'm really into Troopers at the moment. They just have a lot of synergy, um, and not every trooper deck you're going to get. I'm not saying that you have like two decks and one with a trooper and one with a prospector. The trooper's going to be better. You still need to have the right synergy, right? And I just think that there is way higher of a ceiling for the trooper than there is for the prospectors.
Oh, interesting. I think I may have gotten on board with the like upper percentiles for trooper decks are perhaps stronger than prospector, but I probably would have still said the very top, the actual ceiling is higher for prospectors, but interesting.
Yeah, I've yet to see a prospector deck that blew me away, and I've seen a lot of them. We've all seen a lot of them on TCO. Everybody wants to play them.
Yeah. What Yo-Yo Milkworm has one that's great with, what is it? I don't know if I've seen them playing it much recently, but I may be misremembering the deck, but I want to say it had multiples of Esquire, multiples of Mass Buyout, and
Hmm.
and kind of those working in concert can be really,
Yeah,
really, really
I
potent.
yeah, I would agree. The first prospector deck I had that I really was high on until I played it more and more was double mass buyout with an Esquire, and so it's like if you can archive the pieces, it had a recorded history in it as well, and you can kind of archive the combo. You end up wiping the board, building a bunch of prospectors, drawing a bunch of cards, and then wiping it again to gain even more amber and draw even more cards. It really spirals, but I mean it's a great combo when it happens, and the Esquire definitely enables it. So I would say Esquire is probably one of the best synergies with Prospector that I know of.
Yeah, and I know we were also initially fairly low on Sorian as a house. I think that's turning that around a little bit too. But I still think Equidon as a whole is typically stronger than Sorian, and
No question.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just having that going for it counts for an awful lot. But Yeah.
Yeah.
So fair, but interesting. And you absolutely have some very potent trooper decks, self-opened and sought out.
Yeah, one self-opened, which is only my second NKFL deck that I've opened. Um, and so maybe I'll be eating my words in 8 weeks after this season of NKFL, but we'll see. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think we're at an all-time high for me on decks that I've opened in my NKFL lineup, which is pretty cool.
How many is that?
Four.
Oh, that's a good percentage.
Yes, four. Zyger, Veggie, Psy, and just three. I'm blanking on the last one. Anyway,
Hmm.
yeah,
Those are good decks, though. You open good decks.
I opened some decent ones. Yeah, yeah. I think my strongest ones are decks that I've opened, which is another topic I'd love to do. I'd love to make a return to revisit the secondary market topic now that we're kind of in a different place of the game.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of fun too. But cool.
All right. I have one more low-hanging fruit one that I've talked about a lot that I'll get through, and then you can have a crack at a couple. But low C decks, low
Mm.
creature control decks, all bad decks. Worlds Collide with like 26 speed and 5.5 C, not cutting it. And I will say this as one of the two decks that I did open that's in my NKFL lineup is 5.5 C. Um, and it's a precarious deck, I will say. It's very potent, but I'm very nervous about it in a low meta.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, um, I am not a buyer of all these like 30F decks in Worlds Collide that don't have any kind of creature control whatsoever. I'm a
Yeah.
hard pass on
And
those.
that's a deck. That's a deck that you'll play in your NKFL lineup, but you're probably not bringing to an Archon tournament.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
NKFL, you can try to protect it a little bit. Archon, no, you're at the mercy of the draw and who you play against. And with as much woe as in the meta, you're going to face probably at least half your matches against woe if you don't get eliminated before then.
Yeah. No,
So,
that's fair.
all
Yeah.
right, you got a good one here. I
I've
like your next one.
yeah. I think actually, lower powered decks are more fun and often more skill testing than higher powered decks. Um, I know we've had some guests come on that would flat out vehemently disagree, maybe even turning us off right this minute if they haven't already. um, but yeah, I don't know. I think the games with middling decks are often more fun. Maybe it's why I've enjoyed SASCAP events so much. But um, if I was going to really overgeneralize, I think that a lot of high-powered deck games can be very skill testing, but also completely hinge on one or two decisions, and they may be more tactical in nature than strategic. Whereas I think a lot of low-powered games tend to hinge more on strategic play than tactics, and kind of incremental value, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, so I don't know. That was my take. I'm sure a lot of folks would say that they think playing the higher powered decks are just more fun generally. I like trying to make stuff work with the dregs.
Yeah, I think this is why a lot of us on our team have often talked about how we don't like Alliance because you want to have weaknesses in your decks, right? You're not trying to
Mm,
build a perfect deck without weakness. Playing Keyforge is a lot about knowing how to play around your weaknesses or how to play with bad cards and how to, you know, get through them. And I think those, like the lower powered decks that you're talking about playing, like, obviously they're going to have probably more bad pennies or more cards that maybe don't do something, but how you use them, I think matters a lot more than when compared with like the straight value cards that you might get in the higher SAS deck. So I would agree with you. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they're more fun for sure, and I think I'll lump another one of mine in there because it's pretty related. And I thought of this whenever you said this was that I would rather play 100 decks one time each than
Mm.
play one deck 100 times.
Hmm. And you say that meaning that you would enjoy that more, or that you think that you are better off as a competitive player for having
I would
played?
enjoy it more. I would
Okay.
enjoy it more. Yeah. I know a lot of people that play the same deck 100 times in a row, 1,000 times overall. I have like probably less than 5 decks that I've played 100 times. I would much rather play a variety. To me, like I get more out of Keyforge, get more enjoyment out of it when I'm playing, different things and trying different things. And obviously that means like I'm not going to get as refined with a single deck as a lot of players will, but for the enjoyment factor, I would much rather try something different. Even if it's like something that I've played like, 5 or 10 times, it's not a sealed experience. It's a little bit different than that, but it's still like getting to know a deck a little bit until like, 10, 15 games, decide if it's something that I like or not, move on to something else. But I'd rather play a wide variety personally.
Variety is good, and I think there's a lot of growing, learning you can do as a player, growing and learning you can do as a player by getting a variety of experience from decks. And not to take anything away from going deep on one deck, but yeah, I definitely have only a handful of decks with 100 or approaching 100 plus plays, and an awful lot that are in the 1 to 5 camp. An awful
Yeah.
lot in the 1 to 5 camp.
Even the ones like that I find are higher powered, I don't enjoy playing them as much except in leagues. Like I save them for leagues and I do a
Mm.
little bit of practice for the leagues, but I really just reserve them for the league play for the most part, or unless I'm like getting ready for, a vault tour or something like that. Um, but like if you find me on TCO and the next 2 weeks probably an exception as I'm getting ready for KFC, I'm probably going to be playing something that's like mid 70s, like something that I'm not going to necessarily bring to a vault, but I just, want to try it out. I look through my collection every now and then, be like, oh yeah, I haven't played this one in a while. Like, wonder if this one works now, or I wonder if I can like, play it a little bit better than I could before, and try some different stuff like that. But I jump around a lot, and so when I do that, I also tend to like kind of stay away from the highest powered decks as well.
Yeah, yeah, and this actually is really resonates with my last one, because I think to kind of mash both together, build on that. Like, I think a lot of folks would have less fun if they always had the best deck in a matchup. Like, I think I don't know how to say this elegantly, but like, I think it would take the shine away from a game if you were always walking in with the best deck. I think a lot of folks really actually enjoy and maybe even take some comfort in being the underdog in a matchup, like myself absolutely included. I have much more feel bads losing when I'm like, oh, I lost playing my 90 sass against their 65. Like, dang, But it's way more fun to be an underdog, and yeah, yeah. So I love jamming. I love jamming stuff that's more middling and seeing what I can make work. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I play those and I play like 3 or 4 games and I realize that there's a hole in the deck where
Mm.
like it can't handle a runaway board state, or it'll just lose instantly to Eaton Shar, something like that, I'm much quicker to turn off on the deck. I want to have agency. I want to make sure that like whatever matchup I'm going into, I want to at least feel like I have a chance. And so if I encounter a deck that gets in a situation where it's like, oh well, there's nothing I can do actually because I don't have any board wipes in here, um, then yeah, then that's something that I'm more likely to steer away from.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I have decks that I reach for, especially, and I don't know. Adaptive is probably a different story though. But especially in adaptive, where I know that there are holes in a deck, or
Hmm.
shortcomings, and finding ways to overcome those can be really
Yeah,
rewarding.
for sure. And adaptive, all bets are off. Like I'll play low C decks in adaptive. Like that's a totally different beast, and that's a testament to adaptive, in my opinion. Like it's like you said, you know your deck's weaknesses and try to take advantage of that. That's the purest form of Keyforge to me is adaptive.
Hmm. Well, not tonight's not here, but I think we'd have to give a shout to the low A decks being close to our heart, and falling in this camp as well for a lot of folks.
Yeah,
Instant write off for a lot, but there's a lot of good stuff to be done with them.
yeah.
Yeah. All
Um,
right. Let's see what we got.
I have I have one more unpopular opinion. Do you have any more that you want to get to as well?
I think I can save the rest of mine for part two. Part two, yeah.
Okay. So this one might also be more relevant in 6 months. We'll see. I don't know.
Hmm.
But for the longest time, this is something that's been on our list for a long time to talk about. Is everybody wants like an official online client to play. Everyone wants an official website where like it's not TCO, and they want like a real official competitive experience online, and especially like a handheld app. Like people want to play on their phones. Things like I can get that. You can't really play TCO on your phone. I get that part, but I my unpopular opinion here is that I do not want that. Straight up, don't want that.
Hmm.
Um, I love TCO. I think it's great. It's a really good experience for playing the game fast. Sure, it requires a web browser. Okay, like you can't do it from your phone. Okay, that's a drawback. But I worry what could happen to the online game if it becomes like an official thing.
Hmm.
Is that going to cost us more money? Are we going to have the same experience that we might have now? Is the game going to become less physical, like and more digital? Which I much prefer the in-person play. In fact, until the pandemic, I did not play on TCO. I much preferred to just meet with my friends and my locals in person and play there. And it was only because of the pandemic that I started to play online. And I appreciate that it's free and that it's maintained by players. And I don't want to be in a situation where, that's being shut down so that we can pay money for microtransactions or digital only decks to play online. That would lose a lot of the spirit of the game to me.
Hmm. Hmm. So if it was still free to play, would you have any objections? You think?
I would have probably not any objections, but I just don't see how that's going to happen.
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't see how they would Ghost Galaxy would take the time to develop something if it was not going to be something to monetize in some way.
Well, there could be monetization, but it could be they could monetize. I don't know. You know, get you to pay for things over.
Advertisements?
No, maybe not advertisements, but over and above. Like you could assume that everything we're doing on TCO now would still be free in new client, let's say, but maybe you have an option to buy a digital deck or something, which is not a thing that TCO does. It's kind of like it's an additional thing that
Well, if you
they
if you
want.
get the opportunity to buy a digital deck, and if you can also get a printed copy of that deck,
Yeah,
and I would assume that the digital deck you'd buy would be cheaper than a physical deck.
it'd be nice.
I think, yeah, I mean, in theory that would be nice. I feel that that would favor the whales of the game, and I think you'd be
Mm-hmm.
seeing people buying up cheaper digital decks to find the one that they want to pay $15 to print out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'd see it wouldn't be power creep, but it would just be like you'd see like the acceleration of or like the proliferation of higher powered decks just from volume,
Yeah,
and I think that would have a negative impact.
yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, we'd kind of raise the realized ceiling of decks that are in the wild for sure.
Yeah. I made a fairly controversial comment on one of the Discord servers today that I felt that if we had as many opened Winds of Exchange decks as we
Mm-hmm.
have Coda decks, I don't think Coda would ever win against it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you that one of the biggest things probably holding back WoW is just the sheer volume relative to some of the other decks that have been opened. Um, yeah, I mean, we looked at our NKFL lineups last time around. I had three at the time. I forget if I have two or three now in my final submission, but it's a tenth. I've opened a tenth as many WoW decks as other sets, and it's all self-open decks that are in my lineup. Half my
Hmm.
lineup when it's kind of a 10-to-1 split on decks opened or
Yeah.
purchased, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that could be.
Uh, yeah, what it is what it is. I don't like the power creep of it. We could talk about power creep someday. That's another one I think that's been on our list. Maybe we did talk about power creep at one point.
We did a little,
Um,
but yeah, it would be good to attach
yeah.
into again. I think
Yeah.
yeah, we could hash
There's
into
a lot
again.
of design topics that I'm really eager to get into at some point. And we had a lot of ideas for like Keyforge design, and actually like kind of a segue to like sort of winding down here, but leading up to KFC, I'm very excited to get to know the Ghost Galaxy folks and talk about nerdy game design and how they're looking at the future of Keyforge with regards to like the game design aspect of it. I think that's going to be really cool.
Mm-hmm. And also in the vein of maybe getting some guests on, I know that there are a lot of folks going to be there who are probably passionate about game design. So if you want to chat and maybe record something, give us a shout. I think there's going to be some villains of tyranny there as well. They're very
Yeah,
passionate about game design, so it could be fun.
that's a great group. Yeah, and then also just kind of related to that, Dataforge stream was asking me the other day, since we'll be there, any bottom of the Beaker episodes from KFC, maybe something we should keep in mind.
Could be
Bring
fun.
our equipment, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Well, last unpopular opinion. I got a message from Cloggin, and he's basically saying that reaping is always better than fighting, always categorically.
Mm, yeah. You know, I wish that he would. I wish that he would just fight more. He doesn't fight enough in his games.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
you know,
No.
one day he'll learn the power of fighting.
One day. And very very last one, but sloppy sextet's best format. Best format.
Oh, that's a hot take.
Hot take.
I don't know. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion because I don't think anyone understands what that means.
That's not an opinion held by many, you would say?
Well, it's I would say that there is probably 10 people who will immediately know what a sloppy sextet is right off the top. And so it's like a null value to say like that they don't have that opinion because it's just what is that, right?
Okay, so we could say it's a not popular opinion, but not an unpopular opinion.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
All right.
Cool. Well, this has been fun. This has been fun. Should we
Yeah.
wrap it up maybe? Play this game?
We have a sponsor this evening. Yes.
We do. I actually can't remember if these fine folks sponsored a show previously or not, but apologies to them if they have, and I'm misremembering. But this episode of Bottom of the Beaker was sponsored by Picaroons Macaroons. Picaroons Macaroons are the rebels of the macaroon world, creating taste sensations that are nothing short of extraordinary. Don't be content with the mundane. Be a flavor adventurer, a taste explorer, a macaroon maverick. Grab your friends and grab a box of Picaroons Macaroons today and set sail on a culinary adventure. Culinary adventure. That's a tough one to say. Thank you, Picaroons Macaroons, and absolutely delicious, I have to say.
Yeah. I agree. They're some of my favorite.
Yeah. Cool. Folks, Bottom of the Beaker is recorded live right here at twitch.tv/sloppylabwork Tuesday nights at 9:30. For recordings of our past shows and other streams, head over to youtube.com, search for @sloppylabwork over there. And for the very best content, 57 times distilled and scraped from the bottom of the beaker, search for that very phrase in your podcatcher of choice. And we'll be there, maybe a little grumbly with our pet Peeves, but we'll be there. Ready to hopefully go to KFC with you soon enough. Thanks very much, Quick Draw. Any final words for the folks getting off the last audio stop?
I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as we did, and stay sloppy.
Stay sloppy indeed. Okay, excellent. Well, happy Halloween to the chat. We have I can't even remember what the term is. A spooky season inspired
Yeah. Yeah.
matchup to play.
We're looking for deck names with like some kind of Halloween-y theme to them, and you've been showing the ghost who reacts to animals all episode. And I swear I haven't had a good look at it. I've only kind of looked at the name. I didn't really look at the list. I have I'll let you choose. I have a 2-pepper deck I could play, or a 3-pepper deck I could play. One is the ghost as well, so we gotta have some ghost on ghost violence. The other one is a scare demon, which I think is kind of a good one.
So I've got the ghost. Yeah, bring the scare demon. Let's see.
Okay. The scare demon, I think maybe 3 peppers, maybe. So,
Okay.
All right, we'll bring the scare demon. Let's see if I have it loaded up. It's been a long time since I've played with the scare demon.
I'm fairly certain I don't have this one I'd put it probably in the 2.5 to 3.5 range peppers wise.
Okay.
Bunch of dudes, bunch of amber pips, some solid cards. So we'll see. We'll see.
I got a beginner game up for you.
Okay.
Looks like I've only played Scare Demon twice on TCO.
I just imported it now.
This is another one of those examples of how I'd rather play 100 decks one time each. I played this one twice. Um, I have to think that it was probably fun. It just wasn't quite something that I wanted to keep playing. So we have here Coda deck, the Scare Demon, the Toy Maker of Cruelty, which is
that is a great name.
pretty cool name. Yeah, Toy Maker of Cruelty. So into that one. So you're gonna go first. Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun. Just adjusting our layout, stopping the audio recording.
Okay, we got to mark a dis. Over in the Ghost Who Reacts to Animals. Implosion, decent number of pips. Was this the lot of pips deck you mentioned?
Yeah, I think it's got 18 pips.
Mm.
Got quite a few pips in there.
All right.
Scare Demon, the Toy Maker of Cruelty.
Well, this is a pretty good hand for a mulligan, I'd say.
Nice. My hand is not wonderful, but I'm also not sure what I'm looking for here. Let's see what we got. Yeah. I'm going to send it back. Okay. That's...
You have 21 creatures, if I'm counting correctly.
21 creatures.
18 pips, is that right?
Yep.
That is pretty remarkable combination, I'd say. That's a lot of pips for 21 creatures.
It's a lot of pips for 21 creatures. And we're starting off with a bang, too. I'm going Untamed and going to get some value out of this commune. Look at that.
Oh, brutal. Okay. Well, I'm going to play a Dominator Bauble, a Fear for no value, and a Succubus that hopefully you can't deal with, but we'll see about that.
Ooh.
Yeah, 18 pips, and then that doesn't even count the commune, so that's a good start for sure.
Yeah. So we're going Dis. We're going to mark of Dis that Succubus. Then we're going to Pain Reaction it. And Hystricog.
Okay. And you'll draw 3. I'm going to have to go Dis. You get to check, which is unfortunate. I'll play a Dis, and I'll send you right back to Dis.
Okay. Red key for me, a quick red key. A great comment from the chat too. Data Force saying that your icon is great for Halloween to Christmas. Got the
that's true.
Toy Maker of Cruelty. I love it.
That next thing you know, like all these kids are going to be like, spooky season lasts until December.
Right. Yeah, we got to fight that Snudge down. I think that's fine. And play a Snorret and pass the turn.
Okay. Let's go into Mars. Play the Mind Warper. Play Zizix the Many, and then let's put a Biomatrix backup on the Mind Warper.
Very spicy. Very spicy. I think we're going to move some Untamed cards here. Oh, I don't think that was what I meant to do, actually.
That's a shame.
Yeah, what do you think, Quick Draw? Want to let me switch this up?
Oh, man. Well, yeah. All right. Let's see. Put in the manual mode. I'll make my decision then.
All right. I didn't lie, though. I am going to play some Untamed cards, but I meant to call Star Alliance. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm going to play this Kirby, play this Dark Queen, and get the Kirby back. Play the Kirby again. Pretty cool with that pip on the Kirby, too.
Not bad.
Not bad. And we'll toss out a Blossom Drake just so you don't get to do Martian things with that Dominator Bauble.
That's pretty good play.
And play the Armory Officer Nell, too.
Okay. Well, wish I had a creature in my hand.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, okay. Well, I feel like this is reasonable to go Mars here. I feel like when you can get value out of Mind Warper, you should do it.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Double value. Get a Squawker, that
Yeah.
Mind Warper. That's pretty good.
And let's get rid of him.
And I get a card thanks to Nell from your upgrade. That's cool.
That is pretty cool. That's neat.
That's neat.
I never think about that when I'm playing on TCO.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the Dark Queen Gloriana and Kirby interaction before. That's pretty cool. I will come
That
clean.
is neat.
I was fully intending to go Untamed, and then saw that, and I was like, yeah, that's
Oh,
the thing to do.
gotta use that. Gotta take advantage of that. I don't blame you.
Yeah. All right. So how are you? What are you doing to kill my Snorette?
Great question.
Great question. You don't have a ton of creature control in here. Got some double Gongoozle potential. Got some long-term stuff with Anomaly Exploiter. You fighting? Looking to fight?
If the Cloggin taught me anything,
Mm-hmm. Maybe gonna be greedy. I don't know. We might just crush this amber, but we're gonna go dis. I think. I'll play this dark minion. I almost wish this implosion didn't have a damage pip because it's so much cooler to need the dark minion to kill both your dudes. But here we are. Reap or crush the amber. Tough call. Well, we're going to implosion damage icon. Yeah, we'll do it to the Mind Warper just so that the dark minion damage has an impact. And I don't know, little prudence, little preventative measures there with the Snorette.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Well, I think I gotta keep drawing Mars cards, so I'm just gonna keep going.
Those are some Mars cards.
The Mind Warper came back, so.
Mind Warper came back indeed. Would kind of like to move some stuff. We'll go Starlines here. Play Teleporter Chief Tink. Hadron Collision, damage pip on the Mind Warper, smash the Zookeeper, and we'll reap with an L. Okay.
Okay. Well, now it's my turn to just move some cards, I think. Been holding on to this stuff for a while. Just beefing up that Blossom Drake, it looks like.
Yeah, big ol' swole Drake. Yeah, it's rough. Rough go right here. I think I will discard the EP. All right. Starlines for us. Gonna play a Stealthster as an upgrade on Snorette. Draw a card. Mutagenesis researcher sends a damage pip at the Mind Warper. Reap with Nell, and this time we'll take a Reap to get to check. There.
Yeah, this deck doesn't have a lot in the way of creature control or apparently amber control.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in on the Dominator Bubble combo.
Yep.
And that Blossom Drake has taken away like a lot of value that I could have.
Yeah, it's being a pretty big ol' impactful Drake.
It is, yeah. And now I got to worry about you crushing that amber again. So let's go into this.
Ooh, got a double Gongoozle?
Yeah. Not ideal, but it's something.
All right, it's a blue key for me. And you don't have any board wipes in here. Making sure I'm not missing any. Yeah. So we're going to go wider here. An Untamed. Draw a card with the Attendant. Oof, that's a solid draw. Pismire comes down.
That Pismire's going to probably keep me off a key the entire game.
Lots of dudes.
Yes, it is. Let's go Logos. Any dangerous random plays? Don't think so. Great. Just beefing up that Blossom Drake a little bit more. Love it.
Novu. Mother. Yep. Yeah. I think we're just reaping out here in Untamed.
Mm-hmm. Not very much I can do about that.
I mean, I guess we'll kill the Novu. Just because I don't think I can feel good about passing the turn with the Novu. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I get a key. That's a moral victory, I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Wish I had some artifacts going here. But instead, let's just go Logos. Play that Graft for nothing.
Sad Graft
Smoko.
there.
And let's just call it a game.
GG. Okay, GG. Well, ghosts better than demons? I don't know.
Yeah, my other ghost deck I think would have had a better time in this matchup. It has quite a bit more C. So I think it's fair to say that ghosts are better than demons.
Oof. Yeah, it was a rough matchup. And a good start from me too. We'll get into this commune. Lots of pips going.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough C for me to keep up with it. I don't know if there's much I could have done there. So like I said, low C decks, pretty bad.
Low C decks, pretty bad. Interesting. Toss the decks in the chat in case there's folks interested. The Ghost Who Reacts to Animals. What a great name too. But a couple great names. Scare Demon, the Toy Maker of Cruelty is pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, cool name. The one I thought about playing was the Ghost Who Adroitly Stares at Odysseys.
Nice.
So that would have been a better one. It's got a lot more C in it. A lot fewer artifacts as well.
Yeah, the Blossom Drake came up big. It was rough. That was rough.
Yeah.
And yeah, 20, you're not wrong. 21 creatures is an awful lot of creatures to have with that many pips.
Well, you had the Dark Queen and 2 attendants. So those give you like 6 amber, I think.
Yep, I have 6 pips floating around. 7 amber pips floating around.
Wild Spirit gives 2, so I think you have 8.
It does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Or no, Wild Spirit. Sorry, I was thinking of Wild Bounty. So, what is the other enhance then? Where is it coming from? Oh, the mutagenesis. researcher.
Mutagenesis researcher. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a terribly impressive matter maker, but still cool.
So few matter makers are impressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to find one. I saw someone had an Antiquities dealer deck with matter maker, and the only upgrade was like under pressure. That was it.
Oh, I assume that a lot of the restrictions from from previous sets are carrying forward with cards brought in as legacies or via like Antiquities dealer. Like
Yeah, I would think so, probably. Um, but yeah, I mean, one upgrade technically it works, right?
mm-hmm. I don't know if this was something we knew before or only suspected, but in a recent interview on the Nordic Keyforge podcast, I think it was Michael Hurley, if I'm getting that right, was on there, and
I listened to that one last week.
either confirmed or revealed, I'm not sure, that the way that they do some of their validation for decks is to generate first and then have a pass afterwards that inspects the decks for kind of rules and things.
I believe that was Sky Jedi uh, on Blake's podcast, Help from Future Self, this week. That was a couple days ago.
I have not listened to that one yet.
Okay. Well, Luke, Sky Jedi revealed that as well. So maybe Michael did say that in the NKFL one.
Could be. But either way, I mean, whether it's on the generation side, like you're forcing things to be present as decks are being generated. I think if it's on the back end and you're inspecting a deck and you have rules associated with various cards, I mean, if it's the latter, I'm more apt to believe that legacies kind of are handled appropriately.
Yeah,
I could see it being a thing that slips through the cracks if it's the other way around, you know. But
yeah,
either way, yeah, I don't know if they turn those off for Unchained decks, if that was the thing they confirmed too or not. But I've definitely seen Unchained decks that did not follow some of the rules that we've seen before.
For sure. Yeah, I've definitely seen those too. I've also seen some Unchained decks that have literally just one Maverick and nothing else is interesting about it. I was looking at, actually, it may have been a Vault Master as well that I was looking at, and if you're on mobile now, Decks at Keyforge doesn't show the set icon.
Set icon, yeah.
Yeah, and I've had trouble figuring out, like, is this an Unchained or is this a Vault Master or is this like an AOA deck that is like in my memory's bad or something. I was having some trouble with that, but
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I love those kind of quirky decks that show up. I can see if you're a person who is cracking Unchained decks and hoping to find something like gross and overpowered, that it could be a letdown. But I really like opening those things and being like, this is just silly, and having a lot of fun playing it.
Soul Snatcher and
Blorbs, a lot of fun.
That's great.
I have one that includes an Emberling token and has 0 token generators, but it does have the artifact that buffs your Emberlings. So it has a card that references tokens,
but you have no way of getting them.
I have 0 ways of generating tokens.
Bummer.
Which is funny. Yeah. But anyway, well, the Ghost Who Reacts to Animals put up more peppers than I thought, or it was just a better matchup, a good matchup.
I think it was the matchup. I had 7.9C or something like that, and part of that comes from the artifacts, I'm guessing, with the Anomaly Exploiter, and Dominator Bauble kind of helps with that too, and those were both turned off, so you know. I'd say it's largely matchup, but yeah, 18 pips, it's, nothing wrong with that.
18 pips is solid. Cool. Well, a lot of fun. Good peeves. Good popular opinions. I'm not sure what we have in the schedule for next week. I anticipate probably something to do with hyping KFC, but we'll see. yeah, maybe getting to our prep a little bit. But we'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see.
that was great. Looking forward to that one.
So, quick draw. We have an hour left where we live in the spooky season. Is there anything?
Uh, no, I got nothing. I'm not a. I don't like dressing up for Halloween. I only do it if my friends are having a party and they make me. Um, like I'm not. I'm not no fun at all, but I'm also not very much fun. So there's a party. It's like, all right, I'm gonna find a costume that technically counts. You know, I did my duty, but yeah.
Gotta get in.
You want me to say stay spooky? Is that what you want me to say?
Stay spooky. Yeah, yeah. Can you give us a stay spooky?
Stay spooky, everyone.
Nice. Thanks, everybody. See you around the lab.
I didn't want to play that game, but I did.
Costume Data Forge stream. Let's go. All right. Expecting
And
pics.
yeah,
Expecting pics on your next stream.
let's do it.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everyone sticking around.
Bye.